All right, Dean, you used to work in a restaurant, pizzeria, to be exact, back in the day.
Yes.
Do you think that the modern pizza parlor's demands and needs are a little different than what you knew back then?
I guarantee it. It better be different.
Well, I mean, once upon a time, pizzeria was the only way, like the only delivery.
That was the only
there.
delivery.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some Chinese delivery.
Restaurants,
Maybe you get
yeah.
lucky, but pizza was like, ubiquitous. Get that delivered.
Now, like everyone's got in that game. It's
I
no
know,
longer theirs
right?
alone anymore. So restaurants are obviously under a lot more competition, higher expectations than ever before.
Got that right.
That means there's also more opportunity to innovate with the solutions that you're out there selling, right?
That's right.
So today we've got Star Micronics Christophe Naasz joining us to walk through the many masters of the modern kitchen who's dictating what's actually going on back of house and all that innovation, how things like label printing and scanning are helping out, cloud versus on-prem POS debate. I feel like we settled that debate pretty handily in this episode.
Oh, yes. I would agree with that,
There's no spoilers there, but I think you should probably have an idea which way we're leaning. And also a little bit about what he saw at NRA and what you need to know about what's going on out there in the world of kitchen innovation.
There you go.
I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Reverman.
Welcome to BlueStar Nation. BlueStar Nation podcast is brought to you by Elo. From fixed POS systems to self-pay kiosks, Elo offers a wide range of all-in-one payment solutions that simplify transactions and elevate customer experience. Built to withstand the rigors of daily use, Elo's products are designed for durability, making them the perfect choice for any environment. Now, we all know Elo is all about the modularity.
Yes.
And the Elo Pay POS can meet any need that your retail and hospitality customers can imagine. 7, 10, 22-inch screen options.
Boom.
Compact devices with built-in dip, tap, swipe payments.
Yes,
That's
sir.
my favorite TikTok dance.
Yep.
Docked to a printer or a Z-stand. 180-degree swivels to go from merchant to customer-facing. Interactive terminals. Self-service kiosks. Kind of got it all.
Holy moly.
Contact the
What
BlueStar
more do you
Elo
need?
team to find out which Elo Pay POS system is right for your customer, and check out the link in the show notes for more details. This episode is also brought to you by Star Micronics, who redefines POS printing, offering business exceptional features, time-tested reliability, and a modern design and a compact footprint.
Ooh.
Compact is...
Compact.
Again, you remember from your pizza days.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room to work with.
No.
You couldn't have a giant, chunky printer
Absolutely
sitting
not.
there when
Nope.
you need to get some
Nope.
stuff done. It just doesn't help.
It's got to be compact.
So they're building on the trusted legacy of their TSP 100 series with the fourth generation that introduces cutting-edge connectivity and advanced functionality to meet the evolving needs of retail and hospitality environments. The latest addition to the series, the TSP 143.4X4, stands out with its 4 connectivity interfaces: USB, LAN, WLAN, and Bluetooth, ensuring seamless compatibility with iOS, Android, and Windows devices. You'll actually hear Christophe talk a little bit more about that later in the episode too. New Wi-Fi setup options and Bluetooth-assisted quick setup utility make connectivity simpler than ever. Check out the link in the show notes to learn more or contact your BlueStar rep to place an order. All right, our guest today is Christophe Naasz, a returning guest to the show. It's been a few years, though, I think, since the last time we had Christophe.
That's right.
He's the Director of Global Business Development at Star Micronics. Christophe, welcome back. We appreciate having you back on the show. What's been happening in your world? What have you been up to the last couple of years? I'm sure just been just casually, nothing special happening out there in the world,
Right.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me again on your show. Something that I really cherish to participate. A lot of things going on, you hear the news, everything, you never know what's going to happen the next day. And for us, it's been really, really nice. And I think because, people are looking at the innovations that we're putting out, being interested of where the direction bring us, and listening to our customers to allow us to bring a lot of new products, a lot of new innovation, then yes, it's been really, really good.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Listening to the customers, that's always a good idea.
Absolutely.
If you're not listening to them, you're probably not going to be on the right track very quickly. So.
Well, and we all need to adjust to what's happening in the world, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Exactly.
Yeah, you squirrel yourself away in a hole, that's not going to happen. So, yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
All right. Well, let's talk about what's happening in restaurant innovation, what's driving it, and where we need to go from here. So let's talk about, how kitchens are operating and the innovation happening there. A lot of that's changed, obviously, and obviously a lot of that happened from the pandemic. Of course, we know what happened there. Once upon a time, the chef was the one who kind of made all the rules and decisions in the kitchen. They were the the master in charge of
Yes.
everything. It was their kitchen, and we're going to do it how I say, and that's it. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. Not really quite that black and white anymore, though, right? So what's going on in kitchens now? What's happening that's changing back there?
Thank you very much for the question. Yeah, it's funny because we heard a lot about AI. At NRF, it was in every booth, and it was like, okay, how can you bring AI into the kitchen? That was the first point. And the second point was really now that the online ordering are kind of some things that happen in every restaurant, what did that change in the kitchen? And that really made a big impact in the kitchen, because suddenly you have all those orders that are coming at any time, and how you handle all of that. On the AI front, what was very interesting, actually, I just came back from NRA, which was very interesting. And you saw like all those AI agents. Now when you call, you don't even know that you're speaking with an AI agent, and allow you to help ordering, personalize your orders. And what is really nice with AI is really they don't get tired of trying to upsell you, trying to make sure that the information is correct, the speed of it. Then it is really a cool way now to make sure that the orders is accurate when it's being delivered. What you see is really a focus on operation, on make sure that there is no waste. So what was very interesting at NRA, I saw a garbage on a scale, and on the top of the garbage, it was actually a camera connected to AI. Then they could see exactly what you were throwing away.
Oh, nice.
And be able to weigh it. Then at the end of the day, they tell you, you throw out 20 pounds of chicken. Why did you do that? All those things. So it really helps the AI on that part, really help with prep timing, inventory, and of course the quality and forecasting. That was very interesting.
Yeah, when you think about it, there is a bit of AI, obviously, coming into this world. But, the premise of your question is around who are the decision-making people. Right, and that's always important for a reseller to consider, right? So in the past, maybe you walked in the door, and if you were a rep, you were like targeting the chef because you assumed he was either part of ownership or a part of the decision-making capability. But honestly, you hear stories about line cooks getting involved, data analysis, where Christophe was just going, getting much more involved. Remember the guy we had on a little bit around the dumpster or the garbage?
Yep. Like using the AI to see what they were scraping, the plates they were scraping.
But his story was the chef would like pick garbage out of the garbage and say, "Oh well, my broccolini is not selling as well as I thought it would today." So
what's wrong with it?
We're killing that from the So it is fascinating to see machine vision and its usage coming down as being one of those areas where food quality control, and or back-end data analytics is important. So, again, as a reseller, I think it's important to have some of those things at least available, because that's in getting into the decision-making process. When you think about the technology that is back of house, I mean, it has an impact across the board. What are they buying? Are they buying automation in the back? I know we're going to get into it, but what is the customer experience now going to look like as it manifests itself in labeling and packaging? And, restaurants have to be so much more than just food makers. I mean, it's becoming really a business that has multiple fronts. And then when you lump in such things as, well, they have to have a presence on social media. And so now that means something, like food prep, and what does the prep look like? And what does the food look like when it's served? Because
is the dish Instagram worthy?
I was just about to go there. Like, are people going to take pictures of it? Or is it, to the plus or to the negative? Like, look at this crap I got. Or, wow, look at this presentation. I mean, just think about it. As a restaurant owner, you've got all these things that you have to deal with. So from a technology side, to Christophe's point, we have to be enablers there. Obviously, Star is pivoting towards enabling some of those back of house types of solutions that can enable kind of the packaging and how it looks like, and just making the operations flow as easily as possible. Right. So
one of the main points, as a consumer, as you and I, when we order anything. And now I think in some restaurants, it's like 40 to 50% that actually are online ordering and takeout.
Mm-hmm.
You really want the food that you order to be identified to whatever you order, It has to be written John, on the packaging, because you don't want to open the package that was actually for someone else. You want to make sure that you ask for no ketchup. You want to have cheese, Swiss cheese on it. You really have to identify every single package, every single order. So this completely changed actually the organization in the kitchen, because you have to deliver a way to identify every single item of the order. And that is really a big difference that has been done in the last 3 years, to make sure that all the prep is labeled, all the item is labeled, all the order is labeled, and there is no mistake, because the accuracy is one of the most important. At one point, I was speaking with one of the largest QSR company in the world, and they were saying that 20% of all the products they were preparing end up in a garbage.
Wow. Ouch.
It was incredible, just because the person opened their orders, opened the burger, and it's like, oh, I asked for no ketchup, and now there is one.
Right.
Or I opened the one order of someone else, and now they can't give it to the right person. So this is huge,
It is. And that's becoming our behavior. Like if I go to a restaurant and order a pickup, I'm expecting that label, some kind of identification of this is what's in the bag.
Yep.
Especially if I get it delivered. I mean, if I get something that's like delivered in a brown paper bag with nothing on it, it's like, was this really meant for me, or did they just pick up whatever was on the shelf?
And what happened to it on the way here?
So, again, getting back to restaurant owners, it's not just the big QSRs and the big chains that have to react like that. This is the small mom and pop, sports, whatever, restaurant down the street that, I'm going to order a burger, but I want it to be my burger. I want it to feel like this was mine. Again, especially if it's delivered. And so, that is one of those technologies that has certainly been modified during COVID, expedited, if you will, during that whole part. But these are the types of technologies that are necessary to run kitchens today.
Yeah.
It's almost like table stakes. You have to have this kind of technology involved. I'll throw on the table as well, because I know it's one of those things that it continues to grow, which is food traceability, right? I mean, not only are they worrying about front of house and all that good stuff, there's a whole back of house, obviously, but there's the food traceability, which all of us want. We want, if there is, for whatever, a recall or something like that, you have to be able to change and modify to that, and you have to have systems in place in order to facilitate that. So just think about, I mean, the restaurant is like this innovation hub, right? All this stuff is going in and around it. And again, I'll just restate it. It's our job to try to enable that as frictionlessly as possible, so that all these restaurants can do these things that we want them to do. Food traceability to good looking Instagram to you better have my name, damn it, on the label kind of a thing, right? So anyway,
I think that comes down to, Christophe, when you and I were kind of exchanging some emails about what we're going to talk about, and you mentioned kind of like this idea of like there being three masters of sorts, that again are kind of preempting what the chef used to control. Now you've got, you have the food safety standards like from the HACCP. You've got the demands, obviously, the consumers themselves, to your point of like, I do or don't want ketchup. I want a certain kind of cheese. I'm going to dictate what's on my order. And that's the kind of thing I think, too, that like once upon a time, when you went to like, a McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever, you just got what you got. You ordered something, you got what you got. Maybe if you were lucky, you could ask them to leave off the cheese or make it plain or something like that. Now, customization is such a big part. It's like, no, I want it made exactly this way. I want this kind of bun. I want this kind of sauce. I want, my thing to be this size and that size, whatever. And then you've also then, on top of all of that, you got the delivery needs. Because there's an expectation there, too. And these delivery companies, if for their dashers or whatever, the delivery people to get a good tip, for them to get good, good ratings and people to come back and use that app again, that needs to be a good experience. And let's be honest,
that's a really good
restaurant, point. The restaurant, they can, if they make bad food or a bad presentation or mess something up on your order, the delivery person has nothing to do with that. They're
That's
just
right.
picking it up and bringing it to your house.
Yeah.
But it inevitably, sometimes people will still kind of blame the delivery folks for
Sure.
that. You know, like, well, you guys messed up. You're the ones that I have the contact
Or
with.
maybe you got the wrong package.
Yeah,
clearly
exactly.
you got the wrong package. This isn't mine.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So like that's the kind of thing that can fall back on the delivery company. So they're also have these high expectations of when my folks come and pick up that order, it better be the right order. It better be what this person asked for because that reflects on us as well. So that said, all that stuff going on, all these demands, all these masters that are serving, let's get into what Star is good at, which is obviously label printers. You know, you guys are great at that. You got some, modern scanning and POS tools. How is all of that helping you? What are you guys doing with, the printers and the scanning to kind of make sure that all these masters are being served now when it comes to placing these orders?
Yeah, it's a very good point. And, just coming back to just what you say is who own the accuracy and the quality of the product? Because like you say, the delivery company is like, well, I don't care. I just sent you an order. You gave me the order. I don't know what is inside. That's your problem, restaurant. But it's not. I think it's problem everywhere. So what we have done is really we're offering the entire solution, which means that the scanner, the scale to check the accuracy, and the labeling. Then we have die cut label to be able to put on the prep container, to be able to label every item of the order. And then we have the linerless solution that allow you to print the entire order and close the bag. And you have the scale to make sure that the weight of that order is actually accurate or it match actually what was ordered. Then we're really offering like the different paths or the different products and devices that allow you to make sure that whatever was ordered was actually delivered. One thing I want to bring back is I was so surprised to see all those delivery people coming into a restaurant and picking up a package, not even scanning the package, not even like taking a picture of it, acknowledging that they took it. Right. There's nothing. There's still a lot of way to go. A delivery man should not go to a restaurant and pick up any package. They should scan it. They should make sure that that's the right package that they need to deliver, and make sure that the weight is correct. All the items are in the bag. Then this is where a great place, because nobody wants to take the lead on that right now. But that's gonna come.
Yeah.
I think it is going to come, and it has to come, kind of a thing. Because I just think that's going to be people's expectations. And once you start seeing it, as most things in the tier one, it'll trickle down. But the technology is there. And to your point, John, I mean, Star has these capabilities today for reasonable prices. I mean, I know restaurants operate on razor thin margins, but this is the type of thing that can really elevate the game of the restaurant and differentiate, not just front of house, but I'm really glad you went back of house too, Christophe, because I come from the restaurant industry. I worked in a pizzeria for 8 years, and unfortunately, I've been involved in where you go into the walk-in cooler and you see an item, let's say lettuce or something like that, and you see a little sticker on it. It was Prep Monday. Right. Well, it's whatever. It's Thursday. You don't know if it was this Monday or the Monday prior to that. And you always unearth things in the cooler, by the way, because these are big walk-in coolers. And it's like, well, where did that come from? Or how long has that cheese been there? I don't know. But again, the technology and the scanning capability is now enabling this so that you can thwart those types of things. Yep. And a lot of these POS ISVs have integration into inventory control, quality controls that are starting to be built into these. These are things that these restaurants really do need. So you can scan it and say, oh, no, that lettuce was this Monday, so it's still good. Or no, it's been around. Those onions were cut actually 2 weeks ago, and they're probably slimy. But anyway, this is technology that enables that. So I'm glad that you brought up the back of house, because that's just as important as the front of house. I mean, the front of house is, of course, you want your customers to feel, yes, it's your order. Yes, it's everything you ordered. Yes, it's even got, whatever, a little bit of your branding on it. But the back of house is just as important, if you ask me, in helping the line order cooks and the servers and all those people that are prepping the food to have good quality, right?
Exactly.
Product that they can make.
Star Micronics, we have been leading this online ordering. We have been the product of choice, the printer product of choice for DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. They all use our products to print the order. And we have been working with them to make sure that the order at the point of sales now replicate on the back of the house. Mm-hmm. That's why now we have one specific printer, actually two very soon, that allow you to use the same product to print your receipt order, your sticky sealing the bag order, the die cut label. All of that is one product, one SKU, which means that now you can move depending of where you are in your process, or if you have a device that breaks down, to be able to always have a product that can be used. And we're working very closely with restaurants and online ordering organization to make sure that this entire process is seamless for everyone.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you mentioned the thing about the delivery person scanning when they come in too, because that really is something I always find fascinating. Like, a lot of these places, if you're actually in the restaurant and they're doing pickup stuff, you'll see they just have like a rack somewhere potentially, just there in the restaurant where literally someone can just walk in, pick up the bag and go.
Walk. Yeah.
And it always makes me think like, well, couldn't anybody just come in and pick up that bag?
Yeah.
We're putting an awful lot of trust that this is a delivery person or the person who placed the order and they're going to get it. So the scanning part, I definitely agree with that. I have noticed that like on DoorDash in particular, like I'm starting to see where occasionally like the dasher will take a photo now of the order as it's picked up. They'll take a photo and send it to me like, hey, I got your order. It's usually like a shaky, blurry, like cockeyed photo, I'm like, well, that looks like a bag that has food in it. I'm really not sure if it's mine or not, but sure. So to your point, I think that's definitely an innovation that will come down the road. I can also see a future where maybe you get into like the smart locker situation too. We know that's happening, especially like in entertainment and sports venues and stuff like that.
Yep.
I could see that being something where, again, in order to ensure that the delivery person or whoever is picking it up is only getting what they actually ordered and are supposed to pick up, and maybe having some kind of like a smart locker system to go with that. But again, like this is a lot of masters we're trying to serve here, because me as the consumer, if I get the wrong order or something, I might be, I've had this occasionally occur where maybe something was missing or the order was just wrong in some way, and you can report that back through your delivery app. And a lot of times you'll get a credit, though. It's usually a very quick, almost instant credit. And I always wonder, like, who does that fall on? Like, is the restaurant losing that money? Is that going against the person doing the delivery? Is that where, who's taking the brunt of that? And again, that's just something else I think that people are going to be trying much harder to fix and to solve in order to make sure that there are less of those problems in the future.
I heard something very funny. I was so surprised that it was not more of those packages that were stolen by homeless people or just people that are a bit hungry.
Yeah.
And it was a survey saying that actually people don't take it because they're afraid that they're going to take something that they don't like. even homeless people, they're very picky of what they're going to pick up.
I think I'm stealing a hamburger and it's a fish sandwich or something like that.
Like, oh man, this isn't what I wanted today.
Hey, real quick, Christophe,
Yes.
if you don't mind, let's dive a little bit into like the linerless label and stuff like that. Do you hear from the marketplace? What are some reasons why restaurants aren't implementing that? Meaning, are you aware of what are just some of the common pushbacks on, do they think that it's going to be hard to set up, a labeling system? Do they think it's not integrated into their point of sale? Is it that they think their customers don't need it? What do you think are some of the main barriers that the perception of a restaurant owner is why they wouldn't want it? Because in my mind, they should be implementing this, right? It's like a no-brainer, and I know cost really isn't that much of a concern here. So anyway, I just didn't know if you knew of what are some of those major concerns that these restaurant folks push back on.
I mean, it's a very good question, and I've been investigating this for some times. And it's so funny, like you see all those labeling solution actually are separated from the POS. And a lot of the POS have not integrated that technology, that linerless, that kind of label. So right now what you see is like those specific labeling application in the kitchen are completely separated. It's a different system. They just pick up the information and do it. And this is what I'm trying to work with a lot of software, POS software, specifically for the restaurant. Implement the lineages, implement the labeling application. And it's, of course, it's much easier to say than to do. There's, every restaurant wants a specific label, specific way to handle it. Then that has been the issue now. But little bit by little bit, we're working very closely with Square that have implemented a very specific way to print label, specifically linerless label. In a lot of QSR for the prep, they do a lot of batch labeling.
Yeah, okay.
Then batch labeling don't work with linerless because you have to do one at a time. The printer needs to be very close to your items that you're going to package. Then, depending on the application, depending on the restaurants, then it's a different way to implement it. But yes, we need to go see every single ISV and say, okay, let me help you. We have the solution. You have one device, use it for linerless sticky, linerless permanent, or just a standard die cut. And then now we have a new technology called dissolvable labels, that you can put now your label in the dishwasher, it's going to dissolve. And then you're going to have, you have a clean container. Because that was a big problem in the past.
Oh, I love this idea.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like that technology. Yeah. Because we try to reuse, some of the whatever, maybe the materials that it was in, the containers and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, and you guys have such a great reputation of working with these ISVs. So yeah, I hear you. It's a one by one, knock them down, integrate the labeling into that whole process. Yeah, okay. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
But when you think about it, and you guys have done some innovation as it relates to other things. I know you're getting into mounting solutions and stuff like that, and it's fascinating to me to watch a manufacturer such as Star Micronics have to react to the marketplace. They have to be more than just a printer.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to enable the entire solution, which is got them into scanning, now wall mounting, now things like that, right, Christophe? I know in your world, you've been there for well over a decade, I know. So you've seen these changes that have, and Star's had to react to that, right?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we were very happy into the printer world.
That's right. Yeah.
We people ask us, or we deliver, and because we have developed a lot of software solution to help developers that develop on iOS, on Android, on Windows, cloud-based now. We're going to speak more about it later. But what people say is like, okay, I love to work with you. You give me all the tool. I can integrate your solution very quickly. Why don't you give me a scale for my cannabis market? Why don't you give me a scanner for my retail market? Why don't you give me a stand for my self-service market? Then, because we are very close with our customers, we listen to them. It's like, okay, what do you need from us to complete your solution? What do you need? Then, we do everything around the POS and now the kitchen. This one thing that we don't do and we won't do is actually the payment. Payment, this is another part, but everything out of the payment, we're here to support our ISVs and users now.
Yeah. It's a great philosophy to have.
It's just a commentary on where the technology has evolved, how the restaurants and retail has evolved, and just the overall need.
Yeah.
As a distributor, we know that, but it's good to have somebody like a Star Micronics there is evolving their product line as well to accommodate the needs of the marketplace.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah. Well, Christophe, you mentioned point of sale. You mentioned cloud, obviously there. Let's talk a little bit about that because that's becoming a debate as well as cloud versus on-prem point of sale.
Right.
What are some of the advantages and disadvantages for the modern restaurant? Like what is a good reason why they should be doing cloud or maybe should not? Or, how are you feeling about this debate right now?
I think it's less and less of a debate. Now you see all your cloud connection. Right now you're on your computers. Everything you do now is cloud-based. You're on Salesforce, you're on YouTube, you're on all your software that you're working in the office now is all cloud-based. Then of course, in a restaurant, if your connection goes down, that's a big problem. But there's a lot of different ways you can make sure that it's going to be really reliable. There's a lot of now routers that allow you to go 4G, 5G.
That's right.
Then that really goes away. What we notice with all our customers, we're about dealing about 100 new integration every month, meaning that there's about 50 of those 100 that are actually new ISV that decide to launch a new application, a new software.
Wow.
And in order to do that, because they have to go fast, in that industry, if you're first, you're going to make it. If you're second or third, you won't make it. Then a lot, in order to go fast to market, they do all the development, on a browser. It's the first tested is always online. Then what we offer is really a very easy way to connect any of our, specifically our printers to start with. But then you can connect all the peripheral to the printer, which we now, from an online application, you can really send data to the printers, get information from the scale, from the scanners, everything from an online application, which I think, Star Micronics launched that about 5 years ago. But we were telling the people at that time, use your cloud. Okay, we give you all the information to the cloud. You can send us this information, but use your cloud. And a lot of them were like, I don't know what a cloud. I don't know how to touch. Then this year, actually, we're the first again to launch, our own cloud. Then now there's 2 lines of code to be able to communicate with our cloud. Then any application send 2 lines of code, allows them to print, allows them to get information from the scanner, from the scale, from any other device connected to the POS. That's now within like 3 days, you can have your full POS solution.
That's pretty cool. And so when you think about it, a lot of resellers obviously are trying to get into managed services. This is one of the ways that they can help their end users with the cloud services and stuff like that Star Micronics has, and or otherwise. When I think about it, so much has moved into the cloud, and so many of these ISVs have pivoted towards that, and or come up with, you had the doomsday scenario a little bit there, Christophe, in the sense of, well, if my internet goes down, what happens? Right. And I think there's been a lot of solutions around that. So a lot of ISVs have offline modes where they can still do the credit card transaction. It's not clearing, but you can still do the payment and stuff like that in an offline mode. And that's one of the whole reasons why BlueStar got into a networking initiative. Yep. So everything that Christophe said, the 5G routers, and we've developed relationships with the Makos of the world and the Cellarways, and so now we have those types of solutions to enable that. These offline
cellular failover,
and stuff like that. So there are technology ramifications out there, but it is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the world has moved to a cloud based environment.
And I think that's also a big part of why there's no reason why someone should want on-prem at this point, because I think the clear kind of demonstration then would be like, all right, well, in your regular life, in your non-business, non-restaurant world life, everything you have is pretty much cloud-based. And you probably like it when there are new features and new updates that are happening and they just get pushed immediately to your device, to your favorite app, to your favorite software. That's the exact same kind of thing that a cloud POS allows for you when there's pricing updates. That's another one. A lot of restaurants try to dabble in like dynamic pricing or, maybe there's a sale or, as we, move further into this AI enabled world and AI starts recognizing like, hey, we're falling behind on getting that lettuce, out today or whatever. We're going to have an excess of lettuce we might have to throw away. Let's push for more salads. And maybe that means that we lower the price for a little while on the salads or do a little extra bit of marketing push and update what's going out there. Yep. That's the kind of stuff that cloud POS will enable for you,
for sure,
because it will allow you to instantly get those changes, make those changes, or not even have to make any changes, just to have it happening on the fly while you're out there. And then communication too. Like communication should be seamless. And I know that's a big part of what Star is doing with their applications and their printers, and this ability to be like the printer is kind of the central hub where everything's connected to it. It's what's helping run everything. That makes for that seamless communication that you need from front to back of the house, to out to the customers and home office, wherever you need. To me, this is almost a non-debate, but I get that there are still people out there that are like, yeah, I don't know. To your point, maybe they're worried about the connectivity. You as a VAR should be well armed at this point with what you need to help them explain to them. Like, no, you don't need to be worrying about any of that stuff anymore. You can go cloud. We've got the right hardware for the connectivity. We can, work with you on the actual connectivity side, the networking side. We've got partners to do that. Let's go where we need to get your business into the actual future here.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard about Chrome OS, which is kind of the first kind of operating system. It is completely, cloud-based, browser-based. So there's no, because it's browser-based, there's no virus that can enter your computers. There's no executable that can be done on your computers. So all of that really reduce a lot of, the update of the operating system, the update of the application. All of that is cloud-based now. Yep. And now we offer kind of what we call the X4 printer hardware, which allow you to buy one product and you have USB, Ethernet, LAN, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You have everything. Then whatever you get, they're going to be able to work with on-premise software or cloud-based software. You have the products that will work for your store.
How has the community embraced the cloud services that you guys rolled out? And because you've had that for a couple years now, or I was trying to think when you rolled.
For about 3 years now. Yeah. 3 years. Yes, I mean it's growing all the time. Yeah. It's growing all the time. And it's funny because you would think that the big corporation would jump on it. And actually it was a lot of startup at the beginning. But now, because we're offering our own cloud, and it's like you say, it's completely managed services. They don't have to worry about the print server. They always have those applications that focus on print. They always have to update them depending on the products, the vendors, and everything.
Yeah.
We offer the managed services. They don't have to think about it. Like I said, they send one code to us, and we take care of the rest.
Yep.
Yeah. And that is where we're starting to see some more enterprise customers.
It totally makes sense for the enterprise, but if I was a reseller, darn it, I would be jumping in on this kind of stuff because, to your point, you can manage the printers, you can see what's going on, you can help with integrations of other things, just the myriad of other stuff that you've wrapped into your cloud services and some of the marketing and stuff like that you can do. But man, I mean, how you get more sticky to your customers, and you can see that if paper's running out or if there's an issue with something, you can be a little bit more proactive with these things. It makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be?
Say, how nice would it be for if you're a restaurateur and something's gone wrong and you haven't had the time to contact your tech provider or whatever, to get some help, and they're reaching out to you. Hey, it looks like you might be having a problem with register 4 over there. Is that something? Can I help you out with that? Yeah, I mean, how awesome would they think you are at that point to be able to do something like that?
Well, because I was a line cook, and I can tell you the worst thing that happens is when your printer goes down.
Oh, I'm sure.
For whatever reason, it's like, oh my Lord, it's like your world just stops, and it's like, what? And
are you doing like the handwritten notes at that point?
You can't because everything's it has to go through the printer. So hot swapping printers and stuff like that, it's just my gosh. Yeah. So anyway, as a managed service provider, you should be, this at least gives you tools to get in front of stuff like that. So
exactly.
Good stuff.
And to remove all that overhead, it's like, okay, now I need to, oh my God, they're so happy. When they start to use it, they're so happy. They don't have to bother it.
That's right.
To be bothered with it. One actually of our customers was very thankful because we were able to deliver them that one of 2 or 3 printers of the store were down, and they found out actually the store was being robbed, and they disconnected all the connection.
Oh wow!
And actually, it was funny enough, the printers, I was first the one to say, "Hey, there's a problem there."
Oh wow! Yeah.
Wow, printers to the rescue. No doubt. That's awesome.
It was funny.
All right. Well, Christophe, you mentioned briefly up front, that you were at NRA and noted the AI agents as being a big thing that you saw there. Anything else that you saw at the show or encountered that you think is going to have a big impact on restaurant opportunities and maybe where Star might be going next too?
Actually, in general, you see all those restaurants. They have the inspectors coming in like once a year, uninvited, and they have to make sure that they log all the information to be able to deliver all this information to inspectors. Then you see a lot of all those sensors, all temperature sensors, door sensors, and temporary food sensors that all being automatically logged into the cloud. And this information help to monitor the food's preparation and everything. But at the same time, it really can help you to you have now the entire portal to see what's happening in the restaurant. And that is really what we're going to see coming up. Is your entire kitchen is being monitored. Whatever is happening, everything is monitored. And you have actionable insight. Like we spoke a little bit earlier, like reduce food waste, respond to equipment failure. If your fridge or your freezer goes down and you don't know until the next day, it's a lot of money lost. Then having all those sensors being monitored all the time and cloud-based, you now have a full reporting for the HACCP inspectors, and that's very important.
That is hugely important. Yeah. Man, I can tell you when the auditor would come around, it's like, oh man, button up, everybody.
I mean, I remember that back when I was in retail. Like, you'd have those audits or whatever. They want to check through all your paperwork or something. I have to imagine that as a whole different level at the restaurant level, where I mean, you mess something up there, and that could potentially get you closed.
You don't want to be flagged.
Yeah,
you don't want to have I forget what they call it, but it was like whatever, a mark on your report. You just
like
don't,
a bad grade or something.
Yeah, you don't want to have that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because then that takes you a little bit to unwind. But it's interesting that you went down the AI path, and I agree. I mean, when I think about, I didn't go to NRA, but when I think about AI and its applications in a restaurant type of environment, and you hit it with your 20% food waste. I mean, when you think about it, there's just a lot of food waste that happens in a restaurant. And if AI can make that any better, and I think about my days about, management would have to make the decision on a daily basis of what to prep, and back then you were kind of, sticking your finger in the wind, like, I don't know, we should make 15 salads today, you can
maybe know some things like, well, it's a game night or something like that.
Right. It's like,
there's a big game. People are probably gonna be ordering more than usual.
So it's like gut instinct. But man, it would be so much better to have some AI behind that around, well, here's your historical trends. Here's what you actually have here that you can make type of a thing. And I mean, I think that it is a complex situation, but I think that, I can clearly see why restaurants are going to take AI and it's no longer, it's going to be table stakes. Like you have to have AI involved in your operations to get the business intelligence.
I have a friend. He actually it's a funny business. He actually delivers every single restaurant needs. Then every night, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, all those restaurants chef call him, and by that time he's asleep. But they leave a message, on his voicemail to tell them what they have used during the day.
Ah, wow.
Then, it's like, I need 2 pounds of onions, I need 5 pounds of chicken and everything. With AI, that's going to completely disappear because all this information, AI knows it and it's going to deliver the order automatically.
Yep.
Nobody needs to now check what's in the fridge. But everything's going to be monitored to make sure that we know exactly not only what was used today, but what is predictive information of what's going to be used tomorrow. That's the orders that need to be delivered.
Yeah. There you go. No more middle of the night phone calls. I think any restaurant owner would appreciate that.
Yeah, really. No doubt.
All right. Well, in a moment, we're going to have Christophe tell us a little bit more about how Star is going to help you with your restaurants and meeting their demands.
Yes.
Before we do that, let's talk about what's happening around BlueStar Nation. In fact, we've got Star here to talk about too, though, because as we discussed, labeling is no longer just a back of the house afterthought. It's now a key part of QSR operations, from order accuracy to packaging presentation. Well, Star Micronics is here to help even further with a webinar featuring John Levin, their director of product management.
John. Yeah, John's awesome.
To explore how today's restaurants are using a mix of linerless and die-cut labeling media to optimize speed, precision, and the customer experience, and how the channel can meet that demand.
Nice.
So to learn more and register or watch, if you happen to miss the live webinar, check out the link in the show notes. While you're doing that, take a brief moment to like our program, subscribe to our channel.
Join the nation.
If you're not already, join BlueStar Nation. Check out our BlueStar Nation blog. We're always having good stuff going over there. We've had some restaurant surveys that you might want to check out, find out what's happening in the restaurants from actual customers. Submit your ideas to us. You can always find us on BlueStar's LinkedIn page, of course, and you can email us directly at anytime, nation@bluestarinc.com. All right, let's wrap up here with a little bit of our value. And I think we've pretty much covered the gamut of the kind of stuff that Star is doing to help out. But let's make it a little more succinct, a little quick takeaway here for the listeners. How is Star helping our VARs and MSPs go out and work with restaurants to keep up with all these kitchen demands, the increase in cloud-based POS systems? What are you guys doing? What do you recommend that people interact and do with your company to help them win this business and maintain their business with restaurants?
Since you started very well, John, explaining that labeling was in the back of the house. It was in a warehouse, and this is where it was kind of stuck. It's actually logistic or warehouse. It was kind of the two areas. What we bring in is really the new labeling at POS, the new labeling in the kitchen. You can compare kitchen with warehouse, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. Then what we're helping people is, how do you very easily integrate label at the POS, through linerless or through die cut, and not having to integrate multiple products. That is one of the main issues, is every time you go to a different application that you need to buy to integrate this product for this specific application, this product for this specific application, and then you start to speak with a lot of vendors. We're here because you have one company, one person to speak with, to make sure that you deliver the full solution for every areas in a restaurant, but as well in retail. That's why we offer one device that can do the receipt printer, the standard receipt printer, can do the sticky linerless that you may need for to close your bag. The permanent is you really need to make sure that everything is sealed. All the die cuts that you will use in the kitchen. And we offer all the connectivity, like I said earlier, USB, LAN, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, in one product, and cloud-based. So now you only have one product that can be in from the front of the house to the back of the house, one product with all the communication and all the different technology. And we also offer the media. So you don't even have to think about the media. We deliver actually the media. So we really want to be a full solution house. If you have an issue, if you want to go into that market, we have the product for you. And we have a different price level as well.
Well, I agree with everything you said. If I could add on to it, Star Micronics has ears. They listen to what is happening in the marketplace, and I think they react extremely well. Yeah. Not only that, but they're tapped into the ISV community, unlike most manufacturers. And that is critical because, they understood a long time ago that the hardware that they make is all well and good, but if you don't have the integration with the software partners and see where the market's going when it was moving towards MPOS and stuff like that, it's a trifecta there that really makes it a great partnership, and a great partnership that we've enjoyed with Star Micronics through the years as well, because we're all singly focused on trying to help these resellers put in the right solutions. And so, again, just the evolution that Star Micronics has gone through, the evolution that BlueStar has gone through as well with the product offering, it's been great. It's been good. Yep.
Full solutions.
There you go.
That's the key to everything right there.
Yup.
All right, let's wrap up as always with what's on our radar. This is where we talk about something in the world of tech, innovation, science, business,
or otherwise,
or just random news items that we feel like chatting about today. So, Christophe, we'll start off with you. What's on your radar right now?
That is very interesting question, and thank you, Dean, for the wrap up. What I was very impressed lately, it's about the funny product, but I don't know if you tested the Meta Ray-Ban glasses.
Oh, we have James Cordy has some of those in the office.
I did not know that.
Yes. Go ahead though.
Have to check those
I've
out.
never used them yet, but go ahead.
It's amazing. It's amazing because really, when you wear them, nobody notices that actually they have a camera.
Correct.
They can do videos. They can do pictures.
Yep.
Right.
They actually have speakers in the arm of the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
But what's amazing is you actually can walk in the street and move your eyesight into a building and say, "Can you give me a history about that building? Who was the architect? Who was the builder? When was he built?" And it will tell you all this information about that. You can take a picture at any time. You can take a camera. You can take a video at any time. Just speak to the glasses, and it will do whatever you want. Just starting with this is kind of pretty nice. But imagine the chef in the kitchen. Thinking a little bit forward, like 2 or 3 years from now, be able to know if your steak is actually cooked, to be able to see, okay, how much carrot did I already cut,
Right.
prep.
Yeah.
But all the things that actually can be used by connected your glasses, your eyesight with AI, because it's what it is. It's immediately connected to AI and tells you what you don't see or what you don't know. And being able to be your third or fourth eye, and even better. So, and I think, we have seen some earlier technology like it, but it was too big, it was not reactive.
Yeah, right.
But now you really can use those glasses, even for security. My daughter is going to travel the world in a couple of weeks. I'm kind of afraid to let her go by herself.
Right.
But now she can connect with me immediately, and I can see what she sees. I can see, she can be in Australia. I can see in real time what she's seeing. It's kind of pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward for that kind of technology. Not only to, you have those big glasses,
right.
and you see virtual world and everything. No, I want to see the real world. I want to see, I want to understand what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. A slightly tuned down augmented reality from these, the Apple Glass
the
thing
Vision
that
Pro thing,
nobody's really wearing. Or
We've come a
anything like
long
that.
way from that Google Glass that everyone mocked and made fun of.
Yes. Yeah.
They're actually
we had that
a little cooler. Yeah.
It was about 10 years ago when we had that down in New Orleans and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, to Christophe's point, didn't work. But maybe these Ray-Bans do. I mean, we got to ask Gordy.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Like
I'm ready for something that can. I have to wear glasses 24/7, obviously. I'm ready for something that can incorporate into my glasses.
Little AI incorporated.
I don't know if I necessarily need the talking, but if at least it's something that can enhance my vision a little bit, because I'm at that age where I feel like my vision's constantly declining, and they tell me it'll level off at some point, and I'm ready for that to happen because I feel like I constantly have to get new glasses. But maybe something that could help out a little bit, when I'm reading could enhance a little bit or give me a little zoom in, instead of what I'm currently dealing with. So I'll give it a whirl. We'll see what happens. All right, Dean, what's on your radar?
Well, I know this is a weird one, but I've been thinking a little bit about doorstops lately. Do you use doorstops, by the way?
No,
I mean, it's been a very mild spring, a little cold spring here in the Cincinnati tri-state. So I've had the windows open.
Right.
I know a lot of people don't do that as much as we used to back in the day.
Right. It's like you go from such dramatic shifts, like freezing hot, You don't often get that time in between where you can just open up some windows anymore. So.
Yeah, but anyway, I have come across stuff like this, whatever. I'm visiting an old cabin, and it's interesting to see what people use as doorstops. Maybe it's an iron, like an old antique iron, or it's like a lead dog or something like that from back in the day. Well, as it turns out, one person's doorstop could be another life-altering treasure. Is the headline here? A rock used as a doorstop is actually worth $1 million. million. So
Yikes.
it's a 3.5 kilogram reddish chunk rock that this woman in Romania had. She bought it. She brought it into her home. She found it out in her apparently in a stream that was near her house. Brought it into her house, and it had been used as a doorstop forever and ever. She passed away. So family members took that rock and they're like, maybe we'll get this thing appraised. They took it to get appraised. What is it worth? $1 million. Why?
Wow.
Because it happened to be an amber deposit estimated to be between 38 and 70 million years old. And so here this whole time she was wearing this using this doorstop that's 70 million years old and worth $1 million.
That's one hell of an inadvertent inheritance there.
That's a pretty good, right? Yeah. So now I think about it, well, do I have any old doorstops laying around? Because as a kid, I used to go around and rummage through rocks and streams and you never knew what it was. One of them looked kind of volcanic or another one, you never know what you're going to stumble
I know. So
across.
the next time my son hands me a rock, I'm like, isn't this a cool rock? And I'm just like, it's just a rock.
Well,
like,
you might want to hit the pause button and maybe take it down to the museum and say, is this an amber rock?
Well, and good for these folks too to get that checked out, because I can see plenty of scenarios
just
where most
it
people
away.
might be like, well, I don't need a rock, so let's just toss it out.
Just toss it. Yeah. But you know the amber I'm talking about, right? Like, you've seen one with mosquitoes hung in them or something like that. Yeah,
like the Jurassic Park stuff.
There it is.
Maybe we can replicate a dinosaur out of it or something. Yeah. Some dino DNA.
So what's on your radar, John?
Since we were talking about vision here a little bit, let's talk about super vision contact lenses.
Ooh, wow. So forget the glasses. We're going straight to contacts.
We're going straight to contacts,
Got it.
yes. So these were created by some Chinese scientists. These are contact lenses that will let wearers see in the dark, even with their eyes closed.
What?
Yeah. So these are lenses that use nanoparticles to absorb low-frequency light before emitting it in the visible spectrum. So it enables wearers to see infrared wavelengths that are otherwise invisible to the human eye. Whoa. And it says that unlike traditional night vision goggles, these lenses do not require a power source either.
What?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that. I guess it's the nanoparticle part of it. Is that aspect? So basically, you can perceive infrared light. You can, and apparently it works better when the eyes are closed because it doesn't have any ambient light that you have to worry about. It's enhancing the infrared light. And if you're wondering, like, all right, well, what's the practical application? Now, first of all, I mean, obviously, there could potentially be a better version of night vision. I can see military applications there, which is where the original night vision goggles were created in World War II, I think, for that purpose.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But basically, the other practical potential application is for folks with color blindness that could potentially help them a little bit better differentiate colors.
Yeah, I'll take that.
As many problems there.
Yeah.
Could be something in our future there.
I have this Predator thing in my mind. Remember when Predator came out and the vision of the Predator is kind of that infrared. So when I want to act like Predator, I'll just close my eyes and I'll see the world as a predator.
So in other words, if someday I come into the studio and you're like perched in the corner or something,
I can see you. Yeah.
Whatever that weird purring sound
exactly.
the predator made, I'll understand why.
We all have PTSD.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
Good stuff.
That is what is on our radar. Christophe Naasz, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate having you back on the show. Until next time, go, get yourself some Meta Ray-Ban glasses.
Yes,
Explore the world. Maybe you'll run into Christophe's daughter out there. And don't throw away your random doorstops, I guess.
Especially if it's amber colored.
Exactly. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you out there in the nation.